everybody, welcome to oldpocketknives.com. Today I have an interesting one for you. Kind of a interesting knife. Those who are kind of veteran collectors may know what this is, but it doesn't really jump off the page. I'm going to show it to you a little bit, show you the size compared to some other knives, and figure out what the heck this thing is used for. So let's see. What the heck is it? All right, so the first thing I wanted to mention is kind of the size of this. Compared to some of the large patterns that we have maybe in our collection, like the Coke bottle hunting knife, this is much larger. In fact, this comes in at about 7 inches or so closed. So it's very large. The next thing I want you to notice is it does have a blade that pulls out. It has kind of the shape of a spay blade, so that's a hint what it might be used for. It does have the remnants of an etch, and we'll talk about that in a second, but there's a remnants of an etch on the blade. The blade's fairly thin in comparison to other pocket knives. It was made by Miller Brothers Cutlery Company out of Meriden, Connecticut, one of the big New England makers. From the 1870s to about 1925 or 1926. So it's an oldie. It does lock back, and it does have the kind of the traditional release mechanism down there as well. So altogether, we're pushing 12 inches on this thing. So it's fairly large. Another interesting characteristic is it has this piece down here. It says patent applied for, and this actually pulls out and it kind of goes above the top of the handle. This is not too sharp. It's kind of a pokey edge, but this is a blade down here. Miller Brothers is associated a lot with screws in the handle, but this is a little bit different. It folds in a little bit and can come out. Interesting, huh? The back of the knife, about the same. And like I said, it will close back up. Interesting. Okay, so let's talk quickly about the blade a little bit more. I can't read the etch on here, but there is definitely remnants of an etch. You might be able to see it. I saw another one online, and it has the etch listed. It says Carter skinning knife. Carter, C-A-R-T-E-R. So apparently that might have been the person who designed this knife, and Miller Brothers made it for him. It also, this knife online, has the original sheath as well, which has some interesting information. So it says something above on the top, I can't really read it, but something company. It says sole owners and distributors of the Carter skinning knife. And that's from Emmitsburg, Iowa. So that's an interesting piece of information as well. It's kind of tattered, but you can definitely still read it on the other on this other listing. So back to the blade for a second here. It's definitely a skinning knife. This was kind of the big belly on this blade here. Allows one to get underneath the skin of an animal. So that makes sense. Nice big blade for that. This mechanism here, I was reading online, some people were calling it a twine cutter, but I don't think that's what it is for. It could be used for that, but I think the original purpose was to kind of be able to cut across the abdomen of an animal to get and kind of slice the skin without opening up the belly of the animal as well. So used in dressing an animal. So kind of interesting. This is also has a screw on it, which I believe you can undo, remove the blade, sharpen it, clean it as well. So pretty interesting. You don't really see this on any other knives out there. So that's a little bit more information that I found. Okay, so I wanted to share this as well. This is on the allaboutpocketknives.com knife forum website, and there was a thread about this skinning knife, and this person who posted said that they had found that there was a patent online for this, and it was from a guy named Isaac Carter, who filed for the patent in May of 1912 on what he describes as a special blade for cutting the hide of an animal. That checks out. And it was granted in June of 1913. So that's interesting. So that probably means that there is a patent online that I can find and see if there's any more information. So let's see where that goes. And by the way, this also gives us a date when this knife was made. If it was granted in 1913 and Miller Brothers stopped making knives in 1926, that gives us kind of a 10, 12, 13-year window where this knife might have been made. So, all right, let's keep trucking on here, see what we can find. All right, so I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but I found the patent online for the actual knife, and I'll put a link to it in the notes below, but it's got a ton of information about this knife specifically, but I'll read this part here where it says, "Be it known that I, Isaac T. Carter, a citizen of the United States residing at Emmitsburg in the county of Palo Alto in the state of Iowa, have invented a certain new and useful skinning knife, of which the following is a specification. The object of my invention is to provide a skinning knife of simple, durable, and inexpensive construction, provided with a special blade whereby the hide of an animal may be cut from the inner or underside, and provided with a pointed blunt hook for pulling the hide from the body, and for preceding the blade, thereby holding the blade in position for cutting the skin." So there's a lot more here, but you can check out the link, and there's a picture, kind of the original drawing as well, that was intended for the design. So check it all out. It's in there. I think we have a pretty decent idea of what's going on here. Okay, and just a quick little piece of information here. We live in the age of AI, and AI can do some interesting things, including maybe tell us about our pocket knives. So what I did was give it a prompt, ChatGPT, and I said I have a knife called the Carter's Skinning Knife, made by Miller Brothers Cutlery of Meriden, Connecticut, and it was sold in the 1910s in Iowa. I said, what was it used for? Here's the response. The response was, Carter's Skinning Knife was made by Miller Brothers Cutlery of Meriden, Connecticut, and it was sold in Iowa in the teens, and was primarily used for skinning animals, especially in agricultural and rural settings, where hunting and livestock processing were common. Here's what it was likely used for. They said skinning deer, hogs, cattle, and other game during butchering on farms or in hunting camps. They said field dressing animals during hunting trips in the Midwest, processing hides for home sale, such as leatherwork or trade, and possibly used by butchers or trappers due to its sturdy, practical design. These types of knives were essential tools in an era where many families raised and processed their own meat. The blade would have curved and sharpened to efficiently separate hide from muscle without damaging either. So that's interesting. All right, well, hope you learned some things. I know I did, and I was learning as I went with this Carter skinning knife. We know that the blade here is designed for skinning animals, usually hunters or folks on a farm. And we have this blade here, which is what Isaac Carter applied for in 1913, this special blade that was able to cut the skin and avoid slicing into the organs for taking off the hide, I believe. So interesting knife for sure. Again, it is a lockback, and still functions real nice 100 plus years after it was made. Probably made between 1314 and 1926, which is when Miller Brothers stopped making knives altogether. So again, it's a big one. I had the large Coke bottle hunter here to kind of give you a sense of how big this knife is. And there you go. There you have it, the Carter skinning knife. Everybody, I hope you have a great day. This is Jesse from oldpocketknives.com saying so long until next time. Happy collecting. Bye-bye.